Stop chasing your dream job right now. It is a trap. Welcome to the passion trap. Passion Premium.
Today, we're going to take a look at a piece of career advice that, let's be honest, you've heard a million times. And we're going to explore why following that very common piece of wisdom might just be the worst thing you could do for your career. And, for your happiness. You know this one, right? It's the absolute golden rule of finding a job. Everybody from your high school guidance counselor to some guru on social media pushes it. And the idea is pretty simple. Just turn what you're passionate about into your profession, and poof, the daily grind just disappears. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? But what if this really well-meaning advice is actually a trap? Seriously, what if chasing that quote-unquote dream job is really just the fastest way to end up with low pay, total burnout, and a pretty toxic work environment? Today, we're making the case for the exact opposite, the humble, totally overlooked, and surprisingly awesome, boring job. To kind of get some perspective here, think way back to that 1999 movie Office Space. It was a whole comedy about how soul-crushing a boring old corporate job could be. But if you watch it today, you might notice something a little weird. I mean, the main character has his own cubicle, which is a total luxury in today's open-plan offices. He takes these super long lunches, and his boss, who's supposed to be this nightmare, still treats working a weekend like it's a huge deal, not just something that's expected. The bad job of 20 years ago, honestly, it looks almost comfortable now. So let's break down what we even mean by dream jobs, because they really fall into two main camps. First up, you've got your high prestige roles. Doctor, lawyer, C-suite executive. The reason people want them is obvious. It's about the money, the respect, the status. The trade-offs are tough, sure, but they're pretty clear. A ton of school and really long hours. But then there's that second category, passion jobs. Think working in gaming or fashion or for a sports team. Here, the motivation is the love of it all. And as we're about to see, the trade-offs are often hidden and way, way sneakier. And this right here brings us to the absolute core of the problem, what we can call the passion industry trap. These are the fields that look so exciting and glamorous from the outside, but are often the most punishing once you're on the inside. The reason for this really boils down to a pretty simple economic idea. We'll call it the passion premium. It's like this invisible price you pay just to work in a cool industry. Companies in these fields, they know people are desperate to work for them. So what do? They can offer less money and worse conditions because they know there will always be someone else willing to pay that price to get in. And this creates a really vicious cycle. It starts with this endless supply of hopeful people wanting in. Because of that, companies can totally get away with offering low pay and demanding tons of unpaid overtime. Young, passionate workers accept these awful terms just to get a foot in the door. But what happens next is pretty predictable. Burnout, super high turnover, and basically a revolving door of exploited talent. So what kind of leverage do you have in a situation like this? Almost none. If you're not willing to put up with the bad conditions, the company just doesn't care. As one source put it, there's always someone else right behind you, just as qualified, who is ready to take that job. It's a total buyer's market, and the employers are the buyers. And let's just be real for a minute. Even the dreamiest job has its boring side. You think you want to be a video game tester? You're not just playing games for fun. No, you're playing the same buggy level for 8 hours straight, just trying to recreate some weird glitch. Most people working for a professional sports team, they're in an office, answering emails, just like pretty much everyone else. The exciting part is a tiny, tiny fraction of the actual job. Okay, so if the so-called exciting jobs are really a trap, what's the alternative? Well, it is time to make the case for the humble, boring job and explore its secret and very, very real perks. I want you to just look at this number, $21,686. In a single year, that was the difference in the median salary between an employee at boring old General Motors and an employee at exciting Tesla. That's a life-changing amount of money. And here's the data that makes that point crystal clear. Just look at the median salaries in the auto industry. The more established, boring companies like GM and Ford paid their average employee a lot more than the high-tech, we're changing the world, passion company, Tesla. It's simple supply and demand. More people fighting for jobs often means lower pay for everyone. And this isn't just about cars. This pattern holds true across so many different industries. A web developer at some random tech company is almost always going to earn more than a game developer. A marketing manager at an oil company like Exxon will make more than one at the New England Patriots, and an admin at a bank makes more than one at a super glamorous magazine. The cool name on the building doesn't pay your bills.
But listen, it's not just about the money. A boring job offers another perk that might be even more valuable for your long-term sanity and career growth: better management. We've all heard this saying, right? And it's popular for one simple reason: because it's true. I mean, even the most amazing job in the world can become a total nightmare if you have a terrible boss. And this is where boring companies have a huge hidden advantage.
Let's just compare the two classic manager types. In a stable, boring company, your manager has probably been there for years. They're experienced, they're secure in their role, and they see the job as a professional transaction. They know how to handle problems because odds are they've seen it all before. Now contrast that with the manager at a change-the-world startup. They're often inexperienced, they're driven by this need to prove themselves, and they expect you to share their crazy level of passion, which usually just means working yourself to the bone for their goals. The benefits of working for that experienced, secure manager are just immense. They've seen every problem under the sun. They don't feel threatened when you ask for a raise or try to get a promotion. They're not going to micromanage you just to justify their own job. They will actually help you grow your career because your success doesn't take anything away from theirs. So all of this, it leads us to a pretty fundamental shift in how we look at things. It's about completely reframing the whole purpose of having a job in the first place. Have you ever stopped to wonder why we love binge-watching shows like The Office or Parks and Rec so much? I mean, they're all about the mundane day-to-day reality of boring jobs, but they're also really comfortable. They show these stable workplaces where people actually stick around. And maybe, deep down, we crave that stability and predictability a lot more than we admit. This brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. Maybe the goal isn't to monetize your passion. Maybe the goal is to get a stable, well-paying, low-drama job that gives you the money and, just as important, the mental energy to pursue your passions as hobbies, the very same things other people are burning out trying to turn into a career. So I'll just leave you with this one question. What if we've been asking the wrong thing this whole time? What if the purpose of a job isn't to be your life, but simply to fund the life you actually want to live?